Hi, this is Mike from Minimal 3DP, and today I'm continuing configuring the software on my Voron 2.4 build. So let's go ahead and get started. This video is brought to you by PCBWay, an awesome prototyping service. I want to thank them for their sponsorship for this video. So where I left off last time is I was connecting to mainsail. I have everything up to date. Our problem right now is we don't have a working Printer.cfg. So we're going to work on the Printer.cfg and get that all set up with our various CAN bus connections. So let's get this up and rolling. So I'm going to start this build by going to the Klipper example configs. That's typically where I start everything. I love what they've put together here. I need the Mana 1.1 board, the M8P 1.1. So I'm just going to start there. I trust this more than I trust anything on Big Tree Tech's website. So I want to hit raw, hit Control A, Control C, and then I'm going to go over here and paste this in. Now I'm leaving the old code here for right now because I want to sort of figure some things out. One of the other things I need to do is go over to the wiring guide for the Voron, and let's take a look at that. I'm starting with the config, the sample config, but I already want to make some changes. I found another sample config that's set up for Voron already on the Voron website, or I'm sorry, the Voron forum. So I'm going to sort of mix and match here what I'm doing. Now I'm scrolling down. There's a section I want to delete here. I want to get rid of the MCU and the printer section over on my config because I want to move those to the top. I want everything that I can sort of at the top here. I'm going to leave the include for mainsail, and I'm going to look at all these other scripts that this config's referencing. So let's go ahead and do the save variables. So I'm going to copy that and paste that in. And we need to make sure, so let me save this. I'm not going to restart. I need that config, that variables.config over here. So let's just create a file and call it variables, .cfg. And so that way we have that already set up. So the references are good. And then we'll just go back to the printer.config. So we have that set up. It's in the correct folder. Now I want to move the MCU command again to the top here. And for us, I need to go ahead and change this CAN bus UUID. Now I saved that in a text file when I did the install. And I'm just going to grab that. So I'm going to grab that code and I'm just going to paste it in right here. So make sure that's the same. That looks good. Now we're putting in the CAN bus for the Toolhead. So I'm just going to copy this out of this other config, paste this in, and then again, we need to move the UUID we captured when we installed Klipper and put that over here. So that way we have it. I'm just going to hit save. I'm not hitting save and restart. I'm just hitting save right now. Now, in this case, I want the printer config at the top as well. And I believe all these settings are good for Voron. So I'm going to leave those as is. Input shaper. I'm going to use the code. I'm not going to use the code that's here. I'm going to leave that as I'm just going to leave that out. I do want to get the M8P temperature. So I want to copy that code, put that under the printer, and I'll do input shaper when I run those tests. Let's go ahead and get the temperature of the CB1. That's good. Now we're doing the steppers. Now, I definitely want to copy this code. I'm going to get rid of the XY stepper and Z steppers here. And I want to copy this code. I also like the way this is set up. So I'm just going to keep scrolling down here, and I'm going to check all the Z settings here in a minute. So I'm going to keep scrolling down. We should have Z3 as well. So let's copy all those and paste those in. Now, when we did it, I had, let me call up the wiring diagram. So here's the setup I used. So we sort of, again, are following right along. So motor 1 is B. We look at this config. That is correct. And again, it's nice and labeled. So there's the B motor, so that's X. And just to check these connections, let me switch over and we'll take a look at the board and just make sure the pins are the same. Or better yet, let me look at the sample config. So I've called up the sample config PE2, PB4. And that looks good. Now the direction pins, I'm just going to sort of leave those as is because it's not worth messing with right now. We're using the end stop on the print head on the CAN board, so that's okay. Everything else here we'll leave as is. And I'll probably have to run tests on this. Now we're going to check the stepper here. PC10 is, if I scroll down in the sample config here, there it is, PC10, PF3, and current is 8. So let's see what they have here in the sample. I think that looks all good. I think the one thing I'm going to do is, well, I'll leave this at 0.9 for right now. All that's looking good. Let's just check comparing the sample with Y, PF12, PF11. So that's looking good and correct. I'm just going to keep scrolling down here. So everything right now is looking good. I might change some of this stuff. I'm not too worried about it at the moment. Some of that's going to be in my config. Now, let's go over to that Z1 motor, because that's the one I'm concerned about, PD7 and PD6. So let's look at the sample they had. PD7, PD6, looking good. Our rotation distance, they have 8. And the rotation distance here, they have 40, which I actually think is okay. I don't know why it's 8 in the sample. We're just going to go with this because I feel all right with it. Now there's a virtual end stop here, and we'll have to make sure how that's configured. So I'm just scrolling down, and everything here looks good so far. So the steppers all look correct. Now what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and copy and paste the extruder section. So now I'm going to get rid of this motor 4 extruder. Basically, let me get rid of, we go all the way down to here. We'll come back up. Let's paste in the extruder. And that all should be correct. Now I'm going to uncomment out. I'll leave that commented out. That's okay. Thermistors all look good. I'll need to update the rotation distance. The gear ratio looks okay because that's for a Clockwork 2, which is what I have. So we can sort of leave that all as is. We can get rid of the TMC stepper configurations. I hate the fact that all the examples have these down towards the bottom. I actually like them up by the stepper motor so I can see things, but I also understand why they do that. So let's do the configuration here for the heated bed, and that's all looking good. Now I'm going to let me do this. Let me uncomment out this PID stuff, and those will be run again once we run our tests. So that's actually looking all right, and we're just using generic, so I think we're okay there. Sensor pin is PA0. That should be okay. So all this is looking good so far. Now we're going down to the tool head. So I'm going to leave the board pins as is, and let me put in. Scroll back up here because I messed up and scrolled down. So now we're doing the extruder and tool head. Now, I think all that is correct. So that should be good because we're using everything on the 2209. Let's go over to the 2209 directions and just make sure that we have this correct. Okay, so what I've done is, let's look, here's our configuration, and the acceleration sensors at PB12, and I have this sample configuration here, PB12, the temperature sensor PA2, temperature sensor PA2. So we're looking good. We're looking good. I think, yeah, generic. So we're looking okay there. Resonance tester, we want different probe points. Now we're looking at the extruder, and let's just scroll down here, and I'm looking between these two examples. And let me move the extruder should be PD0 and PD1. So I'm just comparing these. Looks like I haven't put the extruder in yet, but everything here is looking all right. Let me look at the part cooling fan. I want to just check that. Hot end fan, PA0, should be all right. Okay, yeah, so here's the controller fan, so that's PA0. PA1, well, that's looking all right. The heater fan for the hot end looks okay. Board pins, I'm just leaving that as is. Let's go over here and copy and paste some more. And so now what I'm doing is I'm taking this compartment section, copying all that, and let's paste that in. Now let's make sure what we have plugged in to fan 4. I'm going to go back. I don't need this one fan here set. Now both of these are actually the electronics fans, and let's change these around a little bit because we're using fans 1 and 2. So let me just look up here and make sure I'm not, I think I can, I'm using fans 1 and 2 are where both the electronic fans are plugged in. And this has it as fan 3. We're going to change this to fan 1, and this one's going to be fan 2. Now, they have it set at 3. Let's undo this. So they have this set at fan 3 and fan 4. So I want to change this around a little bit. So let's pull up the documentation for the board. Right now, I have the electronics case fans going into fan 0 and then into fan 1. So let me just make sure that, yeah, that looks the way I have it. So I'm going to change how we have this set up here. So and that's PE6 and PE0, I believe. PE0 and PE6. So PE6 is fan 0, PE0 is fan 1, just to make this confusing. So let's go over here, and in our electronics, let's do that at 0, and we're doing PE6. PE6. And all that looks correct. And I'm going to copy that and paste that in again, electronics fan 1. And so this will be fan 1, and this will be PE0. I'm just using the same settings. That should be all right. Now, I don't actually have a CM4 fan. That would be a Raspberry Pi fan. Don't have that, so I can delete that out. Now, this should be all right. I just need to keep an eye out for the electric fan and then just see if I need to change anything later on. But I think I'm okay right now for that. So let's go over here and keep going down. And now we're doing the chamber fan. I'm just going to copy that code and let's paste that in. The chamber fan here is being put into the fan 2. So right now, I actually don't have that plugged in. So that's something to be aware of. I don't have that plugged in, and I'm sure that's going to get mounted on the case. Let me think about this for a second. I don't even remember wiring it, but that's okay. We can just use the same code and just leave it as is. That should be okay. It's not plugged in, but we're all right. Next, we're going to do the heated chamber. Let's paste this code in. Forgetting here, I don't have a heated chamber, so I don't even need to worry about this. So let's take that out. Now, I think probably I'll wind up putting in a heated chamber on this, because I think I want one. That could be a second thing. Now, the chamber fan, don't need to worry about that. Now, the tap probe, we'll have to sort of figure that out. The filament sensor, and I'm just going to grab all that. Z-Safe Home, we'll do that. Quad gantry level, we're going to grab that, copy all that, and paste her in. Now, I think I have lots of small issues here, but we'll go back and look at those later. Let's just start. Let's hit a save and restart and see what she does. So the Z offset is not set in the probe section. I want to get rid of this extra code, anything commented out. And the Z offset, yeah, we need to uncomment that. Save and restart. Let's see if we get this thing to connect. This episode of Minimal 3DP is sponsored by PCBWay. PCBWay is currently celebrating their 11th anniversary. And with this anniversary, they have numerous deals and coupons that are available. Now, what's awesome about PCBWay? It's the fact that you can create an instant quote via their web interface. You can upload a Gerber file, and then they'll go ahead and fabricate your design. Also, as part of their service, they have real-time fabrication tracking. This allows you to monitor every step of the process, including shipping and delivery dates. I'd like to thank PCBWay for their sponsorship and then also congratulate them on 11 years of business. So the control fan 1 is messed up. So let's take a look at that. Wonder if I have this backwards. So let's try this. Oh, no, let's get rid of watermark. There's our problem, I believe. So let's put that back and let's get rid of this watermark and control. Save it. Let's try a restart. PB12. So let's look at PB12. And let's find PB12. And let's look at what this should be here. So let's find the sample for the EBB board. It does say PB12 there. So that does say PB12. So let's look at that again. Let me copy this right out of here. So maybe we spaces or something else. Let's save that. Let's try running that again. Okay. So let me mess around with this, see if I can figure out what this is, and I'll be back in a couple minutes. So I found a little bit different configuration here, and they're actually used in the GPIO input and output. I'm going with that. So let me copy that. I'm going to paste that in here because I actually think that's part of my issue, is that things just aren't quite matching up. And this has been a frustration for me from day one with these EBB boards. Now I'm going to change the other code here too, so that way we all match up. And that way I just know what's what, because on my diagrams, it's all by GPIO as opposed to the PA 1, 2, 3 and all that good stuff. So it's just sort of driving me a little crazy, the fact that none of this sort of matches. Let's grab the extruder code, and I'm just going to copy and paste this stuff in, and let's see if that helps. Somewhere here I should have the extruder. So the extruder's up here, and let me break this down a little bit. So, and paste it in. And I think I can leave everything. Let's do the heater pins. So heater pin. So let's do heater and sensor pins. And let's do the max temp. Let's do all that whole section there and get this in. Now, that should be right here. That should be all right. So that's good. Now, let's do the 2209. Should be here. Let's do their run current too at 0.65. Be all right with that. Now, down here we have the tool fans. And so let's fix those. First is just the regular fan. And let me see if I can figure out which GPO 13. So let's look at the board diagram here. So we're looking for GPO 13. That's this one right here. I guess I just need to take a chance and figure out which one it is. So let's just fill this in and then we'll see if we can figure it out. If it errors out, it errors out. I don't have to rewire. All I'm going to have to do is just remap. So that says fan GPO 13. So let's go up to here and fan. Let's go right here and paste that in. And then we have the 2209 fan, which we don't have. Actually, we do have. Well, let me think for a second. So what I'm going to do, let's just take some chances here. So let's do the hot end fan. I'm going to copy that GPIO, go over here and paste it in here. And tachyometer pin, let's see what they have here. We don't have a tachyometer pin, so I'm not quite sure which one that should be. Let's comment out that. Or better yet, yeah, let's comment it out. And that way we can always come back. That's okay. So now I do have this one other fan here. I'm not sure which one that is. So I'm going to use this extra fan here. So let's copy that and we'll put that in there. The other thing we're going to do is let's do the neopixels. So let's just put these. Yeah, let's just do these two. So I'm going to copy that and paste that into this section. And let me go under here. I want this one. This actually has, let's try this. Let's try this EBB. Let's do that one for the hot end fan. And I'll do the tachyometer as well. So let's and they have a setting of 1. So I'm going to move this back to 1. And let me copy this pin and put it here. Let me get rid of this bit of code here. And let's save and restart. I'm sure I'm going to have more errors here, but I think we're closer. PA0. So let's see what that is. And this all going to the bank board. So PA0, it's the sensor bit, sensor pin. Sensor pin, I think, should be on the board. So let's take a look there. So do I have that plugged in to PA0 or? So I have that plugged in to PA0. So the heated bed looks like it's plugged in. Yeah, it's PA0. Yeah, it's plugged right there. So let's look at this. Now there may be some type of problem with the sensor pin is not correct. So let's go back out and look at that error again. Do I have 2 PA0s? That would be intriguing if I do. So let's try that again. PA0. Ah, yes, we do. And we're going to take this set of code and let's comment it out, which we're not exactly sure what that is right now. Now, I also know the tap, it needs to be updated. So let's take a look at the tap. Or better yet, let's just run her and let's see what new errors we're getting before I. So PB5. So let's see. And we need to go next. So now this is the probe. So we actually we have the tap. So let me find the code for the tap and we'll mess with that. Looking at the directions, it looks like this should be GPIO 22. So let's fix that. So we're just going to put in GPIO 22. And hopefully that's correct. I shouldn't have hit save and restart because I actually wanted to check something else. PB6. So let's look at that. PB6. The end stop pin. Okay, now we need to really think about this. This is the end stop pin, and I actually moved it. So let's take a look at our board, and I should be able to figure this out. I believe it should be GPIO 21 because I moved it to the ground. Yeah, so I think it's GPIO 21. So I'm sort of hoping that's correct. So let's fix that. GPIO 21. Let's save and restart. Okay, now I will tell you the fans have kicked on. Now we have the ADC out of range, which that's the extruder temperature. So let's see if we can figure out why that is. Now, as of right now, I'm still having issues with the thermistor and the extruder, and I think part of my problem is I have it wired incorrectly, or the wires are just plain loose. So I'm going to have to pull some of that apart, put it back together. Now, with that being said, it looks like all the wiring in the case is complete. So I'm going to put the case, the bottom of the case on. I'll do that off camera and then flip it over and then work on that hot end, see if I can get it fixed. Once I get it fixed, I'll go ahead and post my Printer.cfg so anybody that has this similar build will be able to use it, and it should be correct. At least I'm hoping so, and I'll test it and all that good stuff. But anyway, if you have any questions or comments, please post them below. If you're interested in my work, please feel free to subscribe, and hopefully I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks. Have a good day.